Hi, welcome to the webcast, everyone. My name is Kristen Lambert. I'm a technical analyst here at KDE on the Munis team. And today joining me is Sheila Miller, who works with Tyler Technology and is our liaison with Tyler. Today we're going to talk about the upgrade to version 11.3 of Munis. I think you'll find this a very easy process. Last upgrade we had was much more complicated. This will be easy peasy. And Sheila's going to take you through the process and talk about it. During the webcast, you'll see down at the bottom of the screen an email address you can send questions to during the webcast. Then after the webcast, anything related to upgrades and the process of scheduling, that's going to be through Sheila Miller at her Tyler Technologies address, and that'll be on the slide deck, and we'll also send email information out after the webcast is over, including a link to the recorded webcast. So, Sheila? Want to take it away?
Thank you very much, Kristen. And if you couldn't tell, we did coordinate today. We wore our pinkish colors because we were determined that we were going to bring spring into the KDE building today because we're tired of cold.
Yeah, but it snowed this morning if you live in central Kentucky.
Yes, so I had a little bit of snow on the ground where I live today, but thankfully it did not stick to the roads. I'm tired of it. As Kristen said, we're going to be moving to version 11.3. That's the next big upgrade for Kentucky. And it is going to be a should be a very easy upgrade. And we're just going to flip through some of the slides, and I'm not going to go into great detail. There are some things we're going to do differently with this upgrade. And I do want to reiterate what Kristen said during the webcast as far as the email, and you'll see that on the bottom of the screen as we get started. But send those email questions to munis@education.ky.gov during the webcast. But then after the webcast, you want to send any questions that you have to my email with Tyler Tech. That way the KDE Munis team doesn't get overrun with a lot of upgrade questions. So we're going to get right into this, get started. Okay, again, there are the email addresses. That's also in your PowerPoint. Now, most of you may be saying, why another upgrade? And with this upgrade process, what we try and do is stay committed to making sure that you have the most current version of Munis. And the modifications that are done on Kentucky-specific programs are always only done in a supported version. So let's say we were still on 10.5, what we were before 11.2. Well then, if we had a modification that had to be made in that version or to one of the Kentucky-specific programs, that would not have been made or wouldn't be made in 10.5. It's only in versions that are still supported, so we need to stay on top of our upgrade. 11.2 is in feature complete status, and basically what that means is they're not making any major modifications to that version. And the last W-2 and 1099 reporting year for version 11.2 will be 2018. Now this doesn't mean that you can't continue to use that version in 2019. But you won't be processing W-2 or 1099s in 2019 for that reporting year. So we want to make sure that everyone is upgraded before the end of 2019. I hope that makes a little sense there. Version 11.3 is the final version 11 release, and it's going to support W-2 and 1099 reporting through the year 2020. That seems so far away, even though that's actually just a couple of years away, but that gives us a little more time before the next big technology upgrade. And the next versions, we aren't sure yet what that would be beyond 11.3, so we'll get through this one, and then the next upgrade would definitely be a major one. Okay, so for 11.3, there are currently more than 360 Munis clients using version 11.3 that's company-wide. So this is a version that many clients have already been using for a while. I know with the 11.2, Kentucky came on at the beginning of version 11.2, and this time we don't have to do that with Kentucky. We again, with over 360, it's been used, it's been tested, and it's being rolled out to clients company-wide. We currently have 4 sites that are in the testing phase, and on April 18th, we'll have a total of 8 sites with 11.3 in test, with all of those pilots being live by the end of June of 2018. For this upgrade, as in with the last one when we started 11.2, we'll be performing 1 upgrade per day. Tyler's deployment team will actually be working on that, and there is, for the most part, 1 deployment engineer that will be responsible for doing each of the KDE upgrades. And moving all Kentucky districts will take about 18 months. That's from the pilot start until the end. So we will be finished with the Kentucky upgrades by September of 2019. All of those upgrades, I do want to say, will be done during the day. There were a few of the pilots that were getting evening dates, but from this point forward, all of those will be daytime upgrades. Okay. One really good thing with this upgrade is you will likely not have any DIA issues, so there'll be none of that work to perform, and that is something that I will check. You won't even be involved in that, and if you do have some conditions that need your attention, then I'll get in touch with you and we'll be able to work through those. But you don't have to worry about running the DIA. The only thing that I ask is to make sure that you are installing your updates from the MIU on a regular basis. Most districts are doing that at least weekly. So you do want to make sure in your live database that you are installing all of your MIU updates. With the exception of the newly purchased product of Tyler ExecuTime being implemented or integrated into Munis HR Payroll, there are only minor enhancements. So you're probably not going to see any difference in the version 11.3 compared to 11.2. Okay, the testing phase, with there not being a lot of changes, is going to be a lot less time consuming. I will send you a document with testing suggestions that I will email that to you when it gets closer to your test upgrade date, and then I'll send that again to you after test has been updated. You still want to make sure and go through all of your permissions, to make sure your staff members have appropriate settings that they need to perform their jobs. I did compare permissions from 11.2 to 11.3, and with the exception of some contract changes of permissions, it didn't appear that there was many changes at all made to permissions, but you will want to make sure and have your test perform some duties, just to make sure they have all the permissions they need. The one big thing with this is, just like the last upgrade, you want to test print your forms before your live upgrade. And we did have a lot of districts, even with the 11.2 upgrade, that did not test print their forms, especially those pre-printed, and some of them ended up on payday or AP check run day with not being able to print forms. So this is very important. Make sure you're test printing all those forms. Your printer definitions will be copied over into the 11.3 database, so you're not going to have to recreate those or send me information on them unless you know that by the time you go live, you're going to have a new printer installed. So if you are going to have a new printer installed, then you'll want to send me the information for the printer, what form you're printing, and what that IP address is. For the most part, if your IT staff gives that printer, the new one, the same IP address, you shouldn't have any issues at all. But that's more of a reminder. That's nothing new with the 11.3 upgrade. That's just how printing is handled with the web client. Okay, a couple of things as far as the what's new. If you are an employee self-service customer and you use that functionality, then you might find that the Munis Employee Task option beneficial. With Munis Employee Task, you will have the ability to create certain items. Maybe you have an employee onboarding process, maybe a checklist, and you want to display that in ESS. You can do that if you have various tasks that you want to be acknowledged or updated. Your employees can do that, and you can upload that and display that into ESS with those results being recorded in Munis. Again, this is only available to those districts who utilize Tyler Self-Service. And you can find more information about employee task by going to the Tyler Support website and using Tyler Search and just type in employee task, and there's a document dated September 12th, 2016, and you'll be able to find that document. Okay, another thing that is new, and this is a huge change, is MIU service packs. And we have moved to a more industry standard practice for delivering corrections. And beginning with version 11.3 and also in 2017.1, those corrections will be delivered in a monthly service pack. And the good thing about this is those dates have already been set, and you can find those in the document that's going to be posted on the blog. It's entitled MIU Service Packs FAQ, and you can also find that on the Munis Support website. Critical fixes will be made available outside of those service packs. And when I talk critical fixes, what I'm referring to is those, let's say for Kentucky Employee Benefits Program or maybe the Kentucky AFR, if there's a critical fix, and you can't do a certain step, then those fixes will be made available outside of the service pack. So it wouldn't have to wait until the next month before that fix is released. Another thing with that going to service packs, if you are a district who automatically installs those updates, you have that set to scheduled, go ahead and install those automatically, then you can leave that service the way it is. And what should be happening when deployment engineer goes in and updates and upgrades your system, they're going to keep those same dates that you've preset. If you don't want those to install automatically, you have the option of taking that out. And with that preset date, you can look at the service pack. There will also be release notes. So those release notes are going to give you all of the information for every MUN that's in that service pack. So you would be able to go through the release notes and know exactly what you are installing with a description of whether it's a correction or added functionality for that. And one thing to remember, and this is really with the MIU now, you always want to restart that gas service. And one way to look at gas is that service is sort of like a map in your car. Anytime that updates are installed, if there are maybe corrections or changes made to other services, restarting that gas keeps that link together with Munis. And it would be the same thing as your car and your GPS. If there are additional routes added, then your GPS would need to be updated or restarted possibly in order to pick up those new routes. So you always want to restart gas. And with restarting that, all users need to be out of the system, so make sure you are scheduling those updates or you install that service pack when no users are in the system. Okay, now this is one of the big changes for this upgrade. We are moving to scheduling upgrades by groups. We have already broken down districts into groups, and each group has a preset time frame for when the 11.3 upgrade will be completed. We'll refer to the pilots as Group 1, and their test upgrades are being done now over the next month or so, and they'll all be live by June 30th. Group 2, the time frame is May 2nd through October 31st. Group 3 is November 1st through April 20th. Group 4 is April 20th of 2019 through September 20th of 2019. Now, these groups, once this is released, and Kristen's going to post this on the blog, and it'll also be emailed to you with the archived webcast link. Once you see the dates, you're going to see that for the most part, your 11-2 upgrade is going to fall within 18, or your 11-3 will fall within 18 to 24 months of your 11-2 upgrade. So if you upgraded in August of 2016 with 11-2, more than likely you're going to fall in that group 2, which is basically the first big group of districts. Now, with that being said, group 2, with the May 2nd through June 30th, we'll only be doing test upgrades for group 2. And then anybody in group 2, you can schedule your live upgrade July 1 or after. Again, this is not a major upgrade. There's no reason to wait on selecting those dates. The calendar is available on the KDE Munis blog. When you look at those dates, after you figure out which group that you have been put into, you'll want to look at the calendar and select a date for both your test and your live. And with test, live and train is not taken down at all. All staff will be able to work in live and train on that test upgrade day, and it doesn't matter where you are with payroll processing. But as far as your live date, you want to make sure and schedule that live date 2 to 3 weeks after test, and that just allows you to do some testing. Make sure that date doesn't fall in the middle of payroll processing, and that would be between the generate and output post step. So as long as you can have started a payroll or opened that payroll, just don't generate before your live upgrade. And then you'll want to plan for Munis to be down the entire day. Once you look at the calendar, if you see that a district's already on the days that you prefer, just go to the next dates that work for you. And again, on that first big group of districts, group 2, we won't be taking live dates for your upgrade until July 1 or after. We're not putting those, we'll put them on the calendar, but you can't choose a June date to go live. Only pilots will be going live from now until the end of June. Okay, so once you have picked out the dates that you want, you just want to send those to me, and make sure and send those to my Tyler Tech email address, and that's on the screen. And once I've confirmed those dates, then I'll send you an email saying that I've put those on the calendar. And just a note that they are first come, first serve. So if someone was in my email box ahead of you and I hadn't put their dates on the calendar yet, they do have priority. So you'll need to, I may have to get back to you and say, okay, there's another district that chose those dates, and you'll need to select another. Okay. Group 2, we do ask that you go ahead and select dates as soon as possible. Districts in Group 2, as I said earlier, you can have test upgraded as early as May 2nd and select a live date that falls July 1st or later. Districts in that group, if I've not heard from you by April 20th, I'll be contacting you individually so we can go ahead and get those on the calendar. And then groups 3 and 4, you don't need to wait to schedule those. Just review the calendar within your time frame and go ahead, and you can go ahead and send those dates to me, and I'll go ahead and put those on the calendar. One thing to remember with this is sort of set it and forget it. It's just one of those things. Once you've selected your dates, then you don't need to do anything until you hear from me, and I'll be in touch about 3 to 4 weeks before your test upgrade to send you the information that you need. Okay, there's a lot of documentation, and if you were to look at each and every one of those documents, you're going to be very overwhelmed. What I will say is, for the most part, the Munis Major Enhancements documents are 11.2 documents copied over into 11.3 with Tyler Executime being added to those documents. So you're not going to see a lot of difference. If you have those 11.2 documents and you've been using 11.2 for a while, you're not going to see a lot of changes in those documents. The release notes, there are two different release note documents. One is for the original version 11.3 when it was released, and then the version 11.3.9.0, which means that includes MUNs through Service Pack 9, I believe. So that would give you the most recent package for those release notes. And the KDE V11.3 upgrade groups, that is a spreadsheet where you will find where your district falls within the upgrade schedule. And within that spreadsheet, one tab sorts those by district, and then there's another that's sorted by groups. We are trying to do this just because in the past we've had a little trouble maybe getting districts go ahead and get on the calendar. This also is going to help better to get the servers to the size that they need. So we know ahead of time how much memory needs to be on each of those servers. You know, each time we have an upgrade, we add additional servers to the KDE project. So we want to make sure and try and do this the best way that we can. And with this being a minor upgrade, we thought it was a good way to go ahead and do that by groups. And again, I think once you see your group, you're going to see that you still fall within 18 to 24 months of the time that you upgraded 11.2. Another thing that I want to say too is, you know, to keep those dates, there's not a lot of room for rescheduling, and it's a very tight project. We have 174 upgrades to do. That includes one of the co-ops and the KDE database also. That's just a test database. And with that, it means 358 upgrade days. So when we're looking at a time span beginning May 2nd and going through about the third week of September, it's a very tight upgrade schedule, so there's not a lot of room for postponements or reschedules. So we do ask that you stick to that schedule because we won't be able to move you. But if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me and I'll work with you on those. And if you have questions, now's a good time to send those. And you do, let me move that back. And we'll go over to Kristen and see if Kristen has any questions in the box right now.
Yes, thank you, Sheila. Yes, there is a couple questions.
Okay.
Good one is, how do I access the KDE Munis blog? So for those of you that are new or have been around for a while, we actually have something that's hosted on SharePoint called the KDE Munis blog. You may see in the communications we send out at the very bottom, it says, have you seen the KDE Munis blog? And that's a link. It says, check it out and save it as a favorite. What we do is any email that we send out as a team, we do post the information there. So if you're a newer finance officer and want to go back and look at information, you know, it's a great resource to look at history. Things are categorized by the discipline, whether it's a payroll or maybe a system administration type posting, so you can filter the post. But we will be sending out, or the KDE team will be sending out communication after this webcast is over, and included will be the link to the archived webcast so you can watch it again or send it to others. It'll also be clearly explicit, this is a link to the KDE blog so you can have access to it. And we will be posting all those documents on the blog because it's too many documents to send via email, and you can access it then at any time. A couple other questions we have here. How do I know what group I'm in?
Okay, well, as Kristen was saying, the spreadsheet will be posted on the KDE Munis blog, and we'll also send that out with the archived link for the webcast. And just go down and find your district name, and that'll tell you the group, and it also has the date range. Then you just go to the calendar and find the dates that work best for your district.
Also, how do I need to schedule both my test and live upgrade at the same time?
Yes, that's definitely going to work best, because if you don't go ahead and pick both of your dates, then by the time that you're able to get back to that calendar, then you may not be able to grab a date that's going to work best for you. It is best to be between payrolls, so you want to make sure and grab that date as soon as you can. So send both of those dates to me as soon as you choose those.
I just got a question that may have been the timing, again, asking how do they know what group they're in? Just as a reminder, that will be posted and sent out after the webcast, along with the link to the archived webcast. And you'll find out, and as Sheila's mentioned, it runs about, you said 18 to 24 months?
It's about 18 to
Yeah.
24 months from the
So-
time, and give or take.
Yeah, so pretty much where you fell in the range of the last upgrade, you're going to fall in that range on this upgrades cycle. We also had a question, which was a little different here, asking about printing functionality be restored so we can print directly from journal entries without going to My Saved Reports. And you should be able to do that PDF.
Yes,
Oh,
and PDF is a preferred output option with the web client. And with the web client that we went to with version 11.2, what happened is you are now using that web client, you don't have that local printing. And it's a lot more secure than it is just using that desktop client. And with PDF being the preferred method, then you can use that PDF option. I do know that a lot of districts, Kristen, we were going through the upgrade, they talked with their auditors and they were able to get rid of a lot of printed stuff that they really didn't need. If you do have a need for a printer to be established for different types of printing, they can contact Munis Support and get a printer added. So it's still the same printing functionality. And if you have other questions about that, you can email those to me.
Another point I want to make about the KDE Munis blog, when you access the blog, bottom, sort of the right side of the page, you'll see a link. It'll say Munis version 11.3 upgrade, and there's a link there to the calendar. So from the blog, there's a link there to launch the calendar. And please don't wait to schedule your upgrade. There's going to be other people. It's your advantage to work ahead and get those dates scheduled, since it won't bother your going, the test upgrade, but your live upgrade will unfortunately take you out of business for the day as far as using Munis. So you want to go ahead and plan that in advance. And we have so many districts that have to be upgraded, and it seems like a long time, but that's why we have to do it in groups and get them going and everybody get on the calendar. So looks like that's all we have. So we'll send out an email probably by the end of the day with more information on the upgrade schedule.
Okay. Again, if you have any questions from the time we sign off on, make sure and send those directly to my email address, sheila.miller@tylertech.com. And I'm always there to help answer questions, and that KDE Munis team email box for all the Kentucky-specific reporting questions for that. So anything upgrades, send those to me. And I appreciate your time and look forward to working with you through another upgrade.
Thanks, Sheila.
Thank you, Kristen.